He was the only heir of a millionaire empire, yet he was disappearing day by day. Doctors failed, specialists gave up, until the maid discovered something that shocked the entire mansion. What she did next saved his life. Before the story begins, don't forget to subscribe to USA Drama 2.0 for more inspiring twists. The Montgomery Mansion was a world built on marble floors, gold-edged portraits, and crystal chandeliers. For years, the estate was known for its grandeur, but within its polished walls, a quiet tragedy had begun to unfold, one that money, influence, and power seemed helpless against. Benjamin Montgomery, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the state, had a son named Daniel. Daniel had been a cheerful, active child who filled the mansion with laughter. But over the past few months, something had changed dramatically. His weight began to drop, slowly at first, then rapidly. His cheeks grew hollow, his arms thin, and his energy faded like a candle flickering in the wind. Despite every effort, hospital tests, nutrition plans, private nurses, and the best pediatric specialists, nothing worked. Day by day, pound by pound, Daniel was fading, and no one knew why. The once bustling corridors of the mansion had grown silent. Benjamin, usually confident and composed, now walked with a hollow expression, his tailored suits hanging loosely on his tired frame. His wealth could buy planes, companies, and skyscrapers, but not his child's health. Meanwhile, in the mansion's staff quarters, lived Grace, known simply as Grace the Maid. She was kind, patient, and quietly observant. She loved children deeply and always treated Daniel like a little prince, even though she was just his housemaid. Grace had been watching Daniel's decline with rising fear. Something didn't sit right with her. Daniel didn't just look sick. He looked drained, as if something, or someone, was taking the life out of him. Grace felt it in her heart. There was more to this than illness. One morning, Grace entered the kitchen to collect Daniel's breakfast tray. The nutritionist had left explicit instructions, a high-calorie meal, carefully measured for Daniel's recovery. But when Grace picked up the bowl, she froze. It was full, untouched, not a single spoon mark. A cold shiver crawled up her spine. "That's strange," she whispered. "Daniel always eats his breakfast." She hurried upstairs and gently pushed open the door to Daniel's room. The child lay curled under his blanket, breathing lightly, eyes half open. He looked even thinner than the day before. Grace's heart tightened. "Sweetheart," she said softly, sitting beside him. "Did you eat your breakfast?" Daniel shook his head weakly. "Why not, baby?" He hesitated, then whispered. "I didn't get any." Grace blinked. "You didn't get any, but I left it right outside the door." Daniel shook his head again. "I didn't see it, Miss Grace." A strange silence filled the room. Grace looked at the tray again, full, cold, untouched. Something was wrong, very wrong. Over the next few days, Grace began to notice patterns, small things but things that added up. Daniel's snacks went missing before he could eat them. His meal portions seemed lighter than when they were prepared. His vitamins disappeared from the counter. And someone always fetched his food before she did. The mansion had many servants, cooks, housekeepers, gardeners, drivers, but something didn't feel right. One afternoon, Grace quietly asked Daniel, "Do you ever see anyone in your room besides your dad or me?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Sometimes," he whispered, "Miss Anna comes." Grace frowned. Miss Anna was the mansion's head housekeeper. Strict, serious, always busy. Why would she visit Daniel's room? What does she do when she comes? Grace asked gently. Daniel's little fingers trembled. "She says she's helping, but she takes my food away." Grace's breath caught. "What do you mean, sweetheart? Why would she do that?" Daniel swallowed hard. "She says eating too much is bad for me, and that it's better if I eat less." Grace felt heat rush through her chest. Fear, anger, confusion all at once. Why would the housekeeper take food from a sick child who desperately needed nourishment? Grace knew then, she had to keep watch. She had to protect Daniel. She had to uncover the truth. That night, after the mansion fell silent, Grace stayed awake. She positioned herself in the hallway near Daniel's room, pretending to sort laundry. At 2 a.m., she heard footsteps. Soft, hesitant, slow. From the shadows emerged Miss Anna. Grace watched as Anna approached Daniel's door carrying a small bag. She opened the door quietly and slipped inside. Grace's pulse quickened. She moved closer and peeked through the crack. What she saw made her gasp. Anna wasn't delivering anything. She wasn't checking on Daniel. She was taking something. The small bottles of supplements, the snacks, the extra nutrition bars, all things meant for Daniel's recovery, were being slipped into her bag. Grace's heart hammered. Why? Why would Anna take things meant for the child? Grace waited until Anna left the room, then went inside. Daniel lay sleeping peacefully. Grace examined the shelf where the supplements had been. Gone. Her breath shook. This wasn't neglect. This was intentional. And then it hit her. Someone was sabotaging Daniel's recovery. On purpose. The next morning, Grace went straight to Benjamin's study. The man was sitting at his desk, gripping his temples, exhausted from sleepless nights. "Sir," Grace said gently but firmly, "I need to speak with you." "It's urgent." Benjamin looked up, his eyes red. "Grace, if this is about Daniel, I don't know what to do anymore." "It is about Daniel," she said. "And I think I know why he's getting worse." Benjamin stiffened. Grace recounted everything. How Daniel's meals went untouched, how his food portions were subtly smaller, and how she saw Miss Anna taking his supplements. Benjamin's eyes widened, then filled with disbelief. "That can't be true," he whispered. "Anna has worked here for years. She practically raised Daniel when he was little." Grace nodded. "I know, sir, but something is happening, and Daniel told me she visits him at night." Benjamin stood abruptly. "Where is she? I need to talk to her." Grace gently placed a hand on his arm. "Sir, if you confront her without proof, she will deny everything." "Let's watch her together, tonight." Benjamin hesitated, then nodded. That night, Benjamin and Grace waited silently in the hallway, hidden behind a large decorative divider. At exactly 2 a.m., footsteps echoed. Miss Anna, just like before, she walked into Daniel's room with the same small bag. Benjamin's jaw tightened, anger flashing in his eyes. Grace touched his arm softly. "Wait, let's see what she takes." After a moment, Anna exited Daniel's room, bag noticeably heavier, and walked toward the kitchen. Benjamin and Grace followed her quietly. Anna opened the pantry, reached into her bag, and began unloading the items, Daniel's supplements, nutrient bars, and snacks, onto a separate hidden shelf behind the cleaning products. Benjamin stepped forward. Anna, the woman, froze. Slowly, she turned around, face pale, eyes wide. "Sir, this isn't what it looks like." "Then tell me," Benjamin demanded, voice trembling with fury and heartbreak. "Why are you taking my son's food?" Anna swallowed hard, her voice shaky. I wasn't trying to hurt him," she stammered. "I swear, I needed them." Benjamin frowned. "Needed them? For what?" Tears filled Anna's eyes. "My sister's child, he's sick too. We can't afford supplements. We can't afford nutritious food. I didn't know what else to do. I thought, since Daniel has so much, maybe he wouldn't miss it." Benjamin's rage softened, but the shock remained. "You should have asked," he whispered hoarsely. "You should have come to me. You didn't have to take from a sick child." Anna broke down, covering her face. Grace's heart hurt for Anna's situation, but Daniel had suffered because of her decision. Benjamin exhaled deeply. "You put my son's life at risk," he said quietly. "I can forgive you, but I can't let you stay." Anna nodded, still crying. "I understand, sir." Benjamin dismissed her gently. The security guard escorted her out. Grace placed a comforting hand on Benjamin's shoulder. "Now that we know the truth," she said softly, "we can help Daniel recover." From the next morning on, Grace took full charge of Daniel's meals. She cooked with her own hands, measured every inch of his portions, and stayed by his side until he finished eating. Benjamin, relieved and grateful, spent more time with his son. The mansion staff grew more alert, everyone cautious and caring. Slowly, day by day, Daniel began to improve. His cheeks regained color, his arms filled out, his laughter returned, echoing through the halls. Grace's dedication was tireless. She stayed late, woke early, and monitored every meal, every medication, every ounce of nutrition. Benjamin watched with gratitude he couldn't express. One evening, as Grace prepared soup in the kitchen, Benjamin entered quietly. "Grace," he said, "I can never repay what you've done." She smiled gently. "Sir, Daniel is like my own. I'll always protect him." Benjamin nodded, emotion thick in his voice. "You saved my son. Without you, I don't know what would have happened." Grace lowered her eyes humbly. "I just followed my heart." Weeks passed. Daniel became healthier than ever. He was cheerful again, playing in the garden, running around the halls, filling the mansion with joy that had long been missing. One sunny morning, as Grace helped him get ready, Benjamin entered with a bright smile. "Daniel, guess what?" he said warmly. Today, we're celebrating you. Daniel giggled. Why, Daddy? Because you're strong and brave, and because someone worked a miracle to bring you back. Daniel looked at Grace with adoration. Miss Grace did. Benjamin nodded. Yes, she did. He reached into his suit pocket and handed Grace a small envelope. She hesitated. Sir, what is this? Something you deserve, he said. Inside the envelope was a letter of promotion. Grace would now be Daniel's full-time caregiver, with a significantly higher salary, full benefits, and her own personal quarters near Daniel's room. Grace's eyes filled with tears. Sir, this is too much. No, Grace, Benjamin said gently. It's not enough. You brought life back into my home. Daniel hugged her tightly. Miss Grace, don't ever leave. Grace held him close, her heart full. I won't, sweetheart, I'm right here. Months later, Daniel had fully recovered. His weight returned, his energy soared, and his laughter lit up every corner of the mansion. Grace didn't just save his health, she saved the family. Benjamin often found himself watching her with gratitude. This humble maid who saw what no doctor did, who listened to a child's quiet words, who uncovered the truth hidden in the dark. One evening, Benjamin stood on the mansion balcony, watching Grace chase Daniel playfully in the garden. For the first time in a long time, he felt peace. And he knew one thing with certainty. Millionaires can build mansions, but only hearts like Grace's can build miracles.